Hey, you guys. So Real Housewives, Beverly Hills, season 12, episode 1 came out. I'm going to do a recap on this one. I don't know if I'll do any others, but I'm like, let's do one today kind of thing. I'm putting on costume jewelry for today because that's what you do when you're doing a confessional video on Beverly Hills Housewives. You put on totally over-the-top costume jewelry. So I did it for you guys. Now hang in there because this video is full of surprises. After the recap, you'll see that I give you some gossip about Kathy Hilton, and I also am going to read your comments. So hang in there. This is a little bit of a long one, but just play it at work. Or cut to halfway through if you've seen the show and you don't want the recap part. Okay. So last night we see it opens the show with the video footage of Dorit's house being robbed, and Dorit, obviously completely frightened and scared and crying is sort of in the background to set the stage. And then the show says we're going to back up 3 days, and then it backs up 3 days, and we see Dorit at the airport in London with her children, I guess leaving to come back to Los Angeles. And we see everybody's life that's normal, I guess. So we see Erika Jane talking about the fact that she's having sex with people she likes and some people she doesn't like, but no one she wants to have a relationship with. And then we see Lisa preparing for Harry Hamlin's 70th birthday party, and she can't get over that he's 70, and she's doing this with Crystal, and Crystal comments that he looks really young, and Lisa still thinks he's the sexiest man on earth, and I guess the feeling that everybody gets is that he looks much younger than he is in real life age-wise. Not surprising living in Beverly Hills, although I don't know if he's had anything done, but probably. Okay, so then we have a really strange kind of dynamic happening between Garcelle and Erika. Sutton is upset that Garcelle is meeting up with Erika because Sutton has decided that she is not okay with the threat that Erika did in last season, where Erika basically how do you say you're gonna hurt somebody without saying you're gonna hurt somebody if they come for you on a TV show kind of situation. So Sutton was freaked out by that genuinely, and she has time to digest it, and I guess she decides in season 12 she's just not okay with it and that she wants to bring it back into the scenario here until Erika apologizes for the threat. Anyway, Garcelle goes against Sutton and meets with Erika and basically says, when are you going to apologize to my friend Sutton? And Erika takes an attitude that, Sutton overreacted and that she doesn't really need to apologize, essentially, what's new. So Garcelle, I guess, leaves it with, I kind of expect you to apologize. And Erika's like, well, I'm not going to. Meanwhile, Kyle is also trying to get Sutton to forgive Erika for the threat. And Sutton is not willing to do that. And she's also appalled that Kyle would ask her to do that, given that Kyle didn't even stand up for her at the dinner party where Erika threatened her. So, and Kyle tries to make a justification that Erika cried after and that she puts on this front of being a bully and an a-hole, but in reality, she's a real softie at heart. Right. Yeah. Okay. I almost puked in that scene, just saying, when I was watching it. So, but she's trying to sell this mother load of SHIT to Sutton. Sutton's not having it. I appreciated that. And then, Sutton restates her position that she's not budging. She wants a real apology for the threat. And it was a threat to her. There is no Kathy Hilton in this episode. There is no other friend of or any new cast member introduced yet on this episode of the show. Okay, so they're holding on that. So then Dorit, we see Dorit mothering her children, watching them do karate. She's talking to Garcelle about the kids and, karate and, so you're getting this sense, of course, that Dorit is a doting, amazing mother. And then, of course, the worst thing that could ever happen to any mother happens. And she essentially is home and burglars think she's away. And they go into the house to rob her closet and all her glam jewelry and purses that she shows on a lot on social media and the show, which, of course, isn't the first time celebrities have been targeted because what they show on the show. By the way, this is not worth much. Anybody thinking about coming for me? And, I'm poor now, so let's just set that record straight. So then what happens is she, goes to bed, and I guess the way she tells it was she goes to bed. She puts the kids, PK is still in London for a few more days. He doesn't come back with the family for some strange reason. And then basically Dorit is sleeping alone in her bedroom and she hears her door open in the middle of the night and sees a light and she thinks it's the kids, of course, like scared coming in her room because when PK is not home, they 100% of the time sleep with her. And this was like a weird example where they didn't because she was so tired. So she gets to the door, she sees, and it's a large man and not the kids. And she's like, oh my God. And they have a flashlight and she's freaking out. And they are totally surprised to see her. They absolutely think she's in London. Why? Because they're looking at her Instagram and she had posted a post like she was still in London. But in reality, she was home. So the robbers were watching her Instagram feed and they thought she was away, but she wasn't. So they were shocked as she was to see them. They were shocked to see her. They panicked and they threatened to kill her. One man stands behind her and holds her. She's calm. She is like, please don't kill me or my children. And please, like, I'm a mom. They need their mother. Please take whatever you want. It's fine. Take it. It's here. Let me show you. Like, she tells them where everything is. They grab her comforter. They put all of her stuff that they want to steal in the comforter. And at first, they're really upset with her. And then they calm down. And then she says to them very bravely, listen, you should go because their police will be called. And I don't, if you want to make it out of here, it's probably best if you leave now. So they listen to her, and then as they're leaving, she says, could you please leave my cell phone? Which was very strange to me in hearing this story. I wanted to hear what you guys thought about the cell phone. But she said, can you please leave my cell phone, maybe to call the police? I don't know, it was very, I couldn't figure out why they would leave her cell phone, but basically they then go out and he agrees to leave her cell phone, but he says, I'm going to leave it at the front gate. So in other words, I'm going to leave it when I have enough time to get out of the house and I know I've cleared the property and your phone will be there. And then he turns on some light on her phone. So as they're leaving, you see the light blinking or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know what that was, or maybe someone called and she had, when you can't hear your phone very well, you put a bright light on it and it blinks. So maybe someone was calling her. Anyway, couldn't figure that out, but that was really weird. So then they leave. Of course, we know they haven't caught them yet. And so just to they don't say that on the show, but they do say that in the after show, but I've also read that they haven't been able to catch them. And then we see this dramatic event occur. Now, in the tabloids, it was well covered that Lisa Rinna, Erika Jayne, Teddy Mellencamp, and although they very blatantly cut Teddy out of episode, they don't barely mention her. In fact, Andy only mentions Teddy in a derogatory way in the Watch What Happens Live show. He says that the fans are wondering if Teddy's husband did the security system, and Dorit doesn't answer, and then Andy cuts her off and says, oh, well, it doesn't matter because she says the security system wasn't turned on because the children were in the house and she didn't want them to trip the alarm, so she never turns her security alarm system on at night, I guess. So anyway, they cut through that. What else? So then PK, we see in the tabloids, but not on the show, that Teddy Mellencamp, Lisa Rinna, Erika, and that's it, I think. Yeah, Kyle, obviously, comes over to Dorit's house and is with her all day. And they don't show any of that. I'm assuming they didn't show any of that because actually I think Teddy Mellencamp and PK were blaming me because, of course, it was covered in page 6, go look it up, that I was somehow the person who caused the robbery, which was ridiculous. So Bravo, as I said, would never give me the platform of being a villain in season 12. So they cut everything that happened at that daytime part, okay? So I think they shot it and then they were like, we can't use it. So then they cut to, thank you very much. Sorry about that, guys. But I told Teddy, don't use me because you're going to end up having it cut. So anyway, they end up going to, or maybe they also cut it because Teddy's in it, actually. They don't want to, include her in the show anymore. So then what happened was they cut to this follow-up scene, which feels really awkward, which is how you know that they cut out other footage for this particular scene, because it's like weird. Kyle decides to have like a casual get-together at her house with Dorit, where all the women are there except for Sutton, and we'll get into Sutton in a minute and why she isn't there. But she decides to have this really awkward gathering at her house for everyone to show how upset they are for Dorit and to hear the story of what happened from Dorit's perspective. And then, of course, PK comes home and he goes, instead of, which we know this is all for the show, he goes, instead of to his children and the babysitter at home, he goes to Kyle's house to meet Dorit at this gathering where she's telling the story of what happened. And he starts to cry, and then he doesn't cry, and then he cries, and then he has it's like very strange reaction. They chalk it up to the fact that he's a strong man and he's not in touch with his feelings, and so that's why, his reaction is sort of, odd. So that's that. Anyway, definitely designed in the way that it's presented to make us feel very, very terrible for Dorit and PK, which I think they didn't need to do because I think everyone does legitimately feel terrible for PK and Dorit without the drama. But they do that and they, that's it. And that continues, by the way, in the Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. He's like the woman of the hour. Thank you so much for coming on. Like, what else is she going to do? I mean, So anyway, by the way, they went on Watch What Happens Live. All the Kyle's adult children were there. Mauricio was there and Dorit was there. Although I didn't see PK, but I'm sure he was there too. Anyway, that was that. What else? So then there was a weird scene, which I noticed at the end, where PK is looking for his cell phone and he's really preoccupied by finding his cell phone, which he's left at Kyle's house. And he goes in to look for it, and Dorit sits outside in front of the van that the production sends and starts to cry and say, I'm okay. Like, she's still so scared. And, she's triggered now. She's frightened. Everything's going to scare her. It's like PTSD. Anyway, she did say on the Watch What Happens Live show she did get counseling, and it has helped a lot. So, but yeah, so that was that. Now, Sutton has a very strange reaction to Dorit's robbery, which I didn't totally understand. A lot of the fans found it really strange that Sutton would behave the way she did. I don't know if she did it for drama. I don't know if she did it because she had heard that, some of the fans believed that PK had done this robbery for, ulterior motives, and maybe she was going to try to play that storyline out on the show, and then they just didn't go with it. So they just cut that out and used making her look like a callous bitch. But basically, she's just like, I've had a hard day. My day is just as hard as Dorit's being robbed at gunpoint, which was absurd, obviously. And she has, she's really preoccupied with her business. And then, they make Kyle call that out or whatever. And Kyle is perhaps a little over the top upset about Dorit. Like Kyle's actually acting like it happened to her versus Dorit, which does come off the show a little strange, but whatever, I get it. You know, Kyle's trying to get camera time with the big cries and the over the top reactions. And I know that they are good friends and have developed a friendship over the years. So she also could have been doing that for the sake of Dorit, right? Like, I'm visibly upset for you. And that could also be true. I could see Dorit, I could see Kyle doing that also to like get it across to Dorit. So Mauricio comes in and it gets at Kyle's gathering to hear what happened to Dorit. And what's really weird is that Erika is not angry at Mauricio for making fun of her story about Tom in the accident. And, you know, basically Mauricio calls Erika a liar in that scene, which is supposedly a trigger for her, but not for Mauricio, apparently. So she comes in and she's like, you know, Mauricio's there and she comes in, she's like, I'm mad at you for saying what you said to me. And Mauricio acts like he doesn't know what she's talking about. Kyle clarifies, she's talking about what we said on the dinner that she saw, you know, watching the show last season. And Mauricio's like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. Kisses her hand, and that's the end of it, right? But Sutton, you know, she's ready to have whacked or whatever, and I say that jokingly. But you get the drift, right? Like, what is this double standard? And a lot of the fans reacted that way about it. Although, you know, so that was kind of a situation there. Oh, and they also introduced this very preliminary dispute that's going to happen between Lisa Rinna and Sutton in regards to whether or not Lisa Rinna was, you know, should have said thank you to Sutton when she sat at her table during the year that she did this purportedly to try to help Sutton get on the show. And, you know, and just for the record, Kyle is siding with Lisa Rinna. And yeah, so that was interesting. I think Dorit sided with Sutton, I feel like. Anyway, and Dorit believes that Erika now is innocent. She believes that the $20 million that was paid to EJ Global, Erika never had in her possession or control, and that she's seen that online. So what Erika has been saying, what happens is at a certain point in this episode, Erika says that out in the press, it's shown that she's been innocent. And then she kind of attacks production and says, you know, you can see it out in my legal documents that I'm innocent and all this stuff. Well, what ends up coming out is, or the gray area here is that EJ Global did receive $20 million in benefit from Girardi Key's client accounts. And currently, there is a case that is happening now in the California jurisdiction where it has been alleged that she was part of a family plot to take money from clients and use it for their lavish lifestyle, okay? And that she was used in some way knowingly by Tom to achieve this goal, okay, of making a perception that wasn't true about him to the world. So anyway, that's out there and happening now. Like, they're trying to say she knew about it, okay? But to the point of Erika, what she's saying is, listen, the money was paid to my benefit, the $20 million, you know, to EJ Global's benefit, let's say, which is basically Erika. But I never controlled those monies. Those monies were, you know, I spent the money and Girardi Keys paid those bills directly to my credit card. And therefore, I didn't know where the money was coming from or what the, you know, that the use of proceeds of that money was bad and this and that. And so there's a dispute really about like what Erika knew or didn't know. But she definitely received $20 million from Girardi Keys directly via payment through her credit cards, which she benefited from, right? Through her company, EJ Global, which is her. So we're going to see this complex thing tried to be dumbed way down for the show. And that's what this is going to be. You know, this is setting up. So I hope that helps explain. It's a nuance, right? Let's see what else is happening in this show. So Sutton is noticeably not invited to Kyle's house to hear Dorit's side of the story. So, and I think that's because Kyle felt that she was not being supportive to Dorit when she complained about her own day and didn't seem fazed when Dorit was robbed at gunpoint, which leads me to believe, like I said, that my previous theories, but also that Dorit and Sutton don't like each other. So there isn't much storyline on Crystal except she's redoing her basement still for $500,000 and the construction guys are late on it and we go through that again, but she's not going over budget. And then she's like an earpiece and for people to talk to. So that's Crystal. So hopefully things, will kick off a little more for her. Kyle Richards, really good friend, passed away from mental illness. They've been really vague about how she actually died. I don't know if she committed suicide or something, and I don't want to speculate on that. But basically, Kyle's childhood friend died. And Kathy, I guess, also knew her. And so supposedly that has brought Kathy and Kyle back together again after a bunch of fighting over the season, which they were estranged again. Anyway, but I thought it was weird that Kathy ends up having this tea party. I noticed Faye Resnick was there, although I did notice that Kathy didn't repost Faye Resnick's coverage of the party. They had a bunch of people that have followings on Instagram and stuff at this party to like show off the products and stuff. And Kathy was being interviewed about it and all this stuff. But it was really strange that she would have this big tea party, I thought, without Kyle being around in town for it. Even if it was a business deal, it was a really big party. And one of Kyle's best friends, Faye, went. So it was strange. I don't know. I still sense trouble in paradise. So, okay, I'll play you some coverage of Kathy's party because it's so beautiful. I had to share it. I actually was really into it. And if you want to see, if you want to know more about the burglary and, what went down about the burglary and the allegations that somehow PK used the burglary money to settle some debts and stuff like that. If you want to learn about that, I do debunk that gossip, although, juicy if it was true, but I do debunk it. So I'll put the links to the things related to the YouTube videos related to the robbery in my description of this video. And then if you want to learn more about that facet of things, because a lot of us have been there, done that. If you haven't been there and done that, you want to do it now, you could go and watch those things. Okay. So it'll be in the description of this video. All right, you guys, I hope you have enjoyed this recap. Here's Kathy's party. Enjoy, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so I can keep doing this if you enjoy my videos. Big kiss. Mwah.
How cute is this? Kathy is throwing a party for love. Check, you can see, and it's gorgeous. Kathy does the best tablescapes ever. I've never seen anything like it, honestly. Delicious. Beyond delicious. Excuse me. Can you believe every Sorry.
Okay, so my question to everyone was, what did you think of last night's episode? And this is what came back. Coffee_love_Susan said They all know each other's past sins because otherwise it makes zero sense. Okay, so this is what he says, or she says. I was hopeful for a divide between the mean girls of Faux Force 5, but alas, there isn't one. Real Cali Steve said, meh. Cute Guy in Akron said, I believe Kyle more in Dorit's robbery than Dorit herself, and he laughed. Heather Cooper 2208 said, I actually felt bad for Doritos. Lynn.5623 said, it was just okay. DM 7191114 said, love Sutton, but she was a little heartless. Just don't understand not setting the alarm in Dorit's house. Sad situation. Sherry _ Little Fair said, a lot of overacting. Wilbur Beecham said, EJ is unbelievable. Renna is a snake. Sutton has had enough. Kyle is a fake. Doritos confessional fake tears. Ash Terry 82 said, still hate Renna and Erika. Mama Cabrita said, I went out, so I'll have to watch it. Go get your homework assignment done, Mama Cabrita. Okay, Susie Q0806 clapped. She loved it, obviously. Rosie Posey 62. Who cares about Dorit? She wrote. That's it. So those are some of the feedback I got on the episode that I'm sharing with you guys. I didn't share all of it, but those are some. Agree? Do you not agree? Anyway, make sure you follow my Instagram and send me gossip on there, Wilkey_Dana, and participate because, like I said, I use it in my YouTube videos and other things. It does. I do read everything that everyone sends to me always. So, and I, as you guys know, always answer in my DMs because I love to gossip with you guys. It's my favorite thing to do. It's like my whole life. You're everything to me. What can I say? I'm a simple creature at this point. You guys and my son. That's it. That's what I'm down to. All right. Big kiss. Mwah. And we'll talk soon.